And finally this week we saw Defiance, directed by Edward Zwick, and he did the Blood Diamond last. And the troubling this is based on a true story about the Belsky partisans, who were a group of Jewish resistance fighters in basically eastern Poland during World War II, and they helped the Soviets fight the Germans. And it's interesting in that it's one of the few stories about World War II involving the Jews where they're not portrayed completely as victims and helpless. But the troubling thing about real life is that it doesn't always meet the requirements of drama, and certainly not of an action movie. And I imagine if they really were faithful to the source material here, it would just be a lot of people sitting in the woods and being hungry. And not the best thing for a 2-hour movie.
But it did focus in on that quite a bit. I mean,
some of it, yeah.
There wasn't, a great deal of fighting. As much as this being portrayed as an action film, this really is a look at how these people survived in the woods. When they would come in, and everyone would come in, and they'd turn in their belongings to a table, and they would use that to buy things for the whole community, and they would share everything together, and they worked together as a group. And it really does kind of show the way that they were downtrodden during their survival. They were talking about going and helping the Russian fighters, or going back to the ghetto, because at least they had food there. But it was interesting, I thought, to see the difference, because just recently they had Valkyrie with Tom Cruise, and it was about German soldiers actually trying to kill Hitler. And this is about the Jews who weren't out for revenge. They weren't trying.
Some of them were.
Well, yeah, some of them were. But that was a very small part of them. But most of them just wanted to live their lives, and they knew this is the only way that they could.
Yeah, there are hints at all of that stuff, and I think that was probably the more interesting part of the movie. But a lot of times, and you can sort of see, because Edward Zwick went through and rewrote the script, and you can kind of see where it's just like, okay, we need an action thing here, and we need an action thing here, and at the end it boils down to this big battle between a bunch of German soldiers and tanks, and there's planes flying and dropping bombs, and all of it just felt very invented. And because of that, I had trouble really having an emotional connection to the story. I mean, this is no Schindler's List.
No.
And Schindler's List had very little action, but I mean, the emotional impact of that movie is devastating. It's not a bad movie, and it does have some good actors. Liev Schreiber, I thought, was the best.
Yeah.
He's the one brother that is really kind of out for revenge, but it felt a little too Hollywood intruded, I think, a little too much in the story. And I still say see it, but it's invented. A lot of it I thought was invented drama for the benefit of the movie.
Yeah, I have a feeling that it was more compressed for the story rather than a lot of it being invented. So, but it was still good enough, so I say check it out.
We'll be right back.